to Fairy Tales and French Knots. I'm Erin, and this is my first foray into YouTube videos. I know I'm late to the Flosstube scene, and I never really planned to do this in the first place, but some friends kept talking about channels they watched and how they thought I should try. So if you see this, Bev and Sylvia, it is all your fault. A little bit about me. I've been stitching for about 30 years, and I've been online since the days of the bulletin board communities. Tangent alert, I am the queen of tangents. You can just ask any of the students that I've presented library instruction to. Second tangent on top of the first tangent, I'm a librarian in my daily life. So back to the first tangent. I found the Teresa Wentzler Bulletin Board, or TWBB, after Jennifer Aikman Smith of Dragon Dreams posted her Danny the Stitching Dragon design in honor of the stitcher who had finished all of the freebie Dragon Virtues series first. I was really curious about the finished designs. I'd been working on the freebies myself, but you always want to see the finished product, right? So I went poking around to find where all this was discussed, and went to Google, or whatever Google was back in those days. It was probably something like Ask Jeeves. I don't even know. But I discovered the Teresa Wentzler board from there. And after that, I moved over to the wagon, which was where we all went when we thought we could stop buying stash. You can guess how that worked out. And actually, I met up with a couple board members from the wagon at Celebration of Needlework in Nashua, New Hampshire, about a decade ago. I've also had a blog under the name Fairy Tales and French Knots, go figure, for almost 20 years. I actually had to look it up myself the other day when I was getting ready to talk about myself, and found my first post from October of 2004. So coming up in 2 years, that'll be my 20-year anniversary of blogging. I may not have the kind of name or brand recognition that some stitchers and bloggers out there have, but I'd like to think that at least a few folks have seen my work and might go, oh yeah, I saw that when I talk about things here. But we'll see. In terms of what I like to stitch, obviously, I've mentioned dragons. My channel name is Fairy Tales and French Knots, so you might guess that I like, fantasy designs, and I do. However, despite my almost daily presence on the Teresa Wentzler bulletin board, I've never finished one of her designs. In fact, I don't think I've even started one. I find them a little intimidating, even after 30 years of stitching. I have done some Mirabilias, some Butternut Road, Told in a Garden designs, and tons of smalls. I also like some primitives, some other more detailed pieces. I'm not really picky. The one thing I have never stitched is either Precious Moments or anything that's really overtly religious or Christian. I have no problems with organized religion. I just choose not to stitch those things. I also love Santa Claus's, mermaids, and Halloween patterns. So you can count on seeing some of those if I start showing off finishes. I love smalls as well. I think it's the instant gratification of having something finished. So ornaments, the Just Cross Stitch ornament issue has been my weakness for years, even though I feel like they're starting to all look the same. Not always, but sometimes. I also love finishing. Again, I know when you say needlework finishing, there are a few blogs and Facebook channel or Facebook accounts and YouTube channels, Flosstube channels that everybody knows. I don't think I'm one of those. I try not to steal their ideas, but how many things can you attach needlework to in how many different ways and really claim that, it's yours? Anything I post here, I don't claim to have originated. I welcome other people trying my techniques, whatever they might be. One thing that I really do like to do is rehab old jewelry boxes. Um, I discovered back in the 80s and 90s there were a bunch of jewelry boxes that had glass pieces in the lid, and the glass pieces are held in by little brackets with screws. So if you take those screws and brackets out, the glass pops out, obviously, and you can insert a piece of needlework mounted on, I've been using comic book board because it's thin, and then put a piece of backing behind it, put the brackets back on, and it looks really, really professional. Here's one of the ones I finished earlier this summer. This is a design from, ooh, Myrtle Grace. That's it, Myrtle Grace Designs. And it's a little flag. It's about, I'd say it's about 4 by 7, so it's not quite a standard size, but it worked perfect in this little jewelry box. And then on the inside, I have coordinating fabric, braided trim, and I also replaced some of the felt, the velveteen inside, um, with a navy blue felt. Well, actually, there are a pair of fleece velveteen pajama pants that I got at a thrift store for 89 cents and chopped up into box liners. So that's kind of my great joy in life, is taking things apart for nothing and turning them into something else. In May of this past year, my mother and I did a craft show, and I sold 4 of these little jewelry boxes with different designs on them, several ornaments. I also made tooth fairy pillows and other little things. I'm sure if you told people what if I told people, if I told you what I charged for the things I made, there are people out there who'd be appalled. They would tell me that I undercharged, that I'm not valuing my work, etc., etc. I totally understand. The thing is, I'm not making these things for profit. I'm making them because I like to make them. And I don't need 35 jewelry boxes. I have almost 35 jewelry boxes in various storage containers and shelves and all over my house. I don't need them all. So if someone wants to take one off my hands for 20 or 30 bucks, to me that's a win. I mean, I paid $1.49 for this box. I sanded it down, put some new polyurethane on it, put the stitching in it, finished off the inside, had a blast doing it, was more than pleased with myself for what I came up with, but I don't want it. So I've given some to my mother, who donates them to, raffle baskets for charities. Uh, who knows? I say, I've made a pretty thing, send it out into the world and let other people appreciate it, and it's fine. And I have more room to make more pretty things. So after all that, I think this is the end of my first video. I'm not sure how often I'll be posting or how long my posts will be. Part of the issue for me with video making right now is that I do work full-time as a librarian, and I have a child who is in 6th grade. Today was her first day of school, which is why I had time to make a video. So I don't know how often I'll have time to do this. That said, I do plan on returning. I'm trying to decide what the next episode should be. I'm a huge fan of, cutesy, irritating titles. So I could do the standard whip parade that everyone does. I could do a mermaid parade because I love mermaids and I have many, many mermaid pieces that are finished. I could show off some more of my finishing techniques. I could do a close up of more of my jewelry boxes because I'm actually getting them out and getting them ready for another craft show. Or I could do Halloween things. There might be some crossover between the Halloween things and the box finishing, and who knows? I'm really not sure. So if you've been watching and you have an opinion on what you'd like to see next, let me know in the comments down below. So I think the choices could be whip parade, mermaids, finishing. Yes, those three. And I don't have a really elaborate video setup right now. As you may have figured out, I'm sitting in the room that is both my stitching room, my finishing space, and thanks to COVID, has been my office space for work for the better part of a year because I was lucky enough to be able to work from home. So I don't have a real professional setup. I basically have a webcam sitting on top of two monitors, and that's it. It's also right in front of a window, so I tend to get funky reflections on things. But I also have a husband who did video Santa visits last year. And he has both a green screen and one of those professional lighting rings and all of that. So I might be able to play around with that at least until he needs to do Santa again. So thanks for watching, and I hope you'll come back. Leave me a comment. Please be nice. This is my first time out. Bye!